So we're paying more for an inefficient service. This is yet another example of the Albanese government failing to deliver on crucial government services. Another example of government mismanagement under Albanese's Labor.
I call the member for Hughes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak on this motion brought by the member for Fadden, and I congratulate him and thank him for bringing this matter to this chamber. This motion is in relation to the efficiency of passport applications. It relates to both the cost and also the timeliness of that processing. And I was in this chamber when I heard the member for Bruce attempt to trivialise this motion, trivialise this issue, and described it as silly on a number of occasions. But, Deputy Speaker, I then heard the member for Bennelong as well in this chamber, who went through all of the reasons why it is so important to Australians that we have faith and confidence in the way that our applications for passports are processed. And also, I was here for the member for Menzies' speech, and he outlined how important it is, particularly in this cost of living crisis, that Australians are not being charged so much for their passports. And, Deputy Speaker, Australians are definitely paying more for their passports under this Albanese Labor government, and the National Audit Office has now found that the service is also inefficient. So we're paying more for an inefficient service. This is yet another example of the Albanese government failing to deliver on crucial government services. Another example of government mismanagement under Albanese's Labor. And to back this up, the report of the 7th of February found some glaring errors in the Australian Passport Office's method of processing. It said they're not being processed in a time and resource-efficient manner. The report also found that the approach of the Australian Passport Office was not customer-focused. Now, this is not a silly or a trivial issue, Deputy Speaker. This is an important issue. The issue of passports is very important to Australians. Australians who need to go overseas and see their loved ones, their families, Australians who want to travel, who want to experience the sheer joy of overseas travel, of embracing other cultures. Because when we embrace other cultures, we learn more about the world, we learn about Australia's place in the world, and we learn more about ourselves. So I simply cannot accept that those on the other side are saying that this is a trivial issue. So DFAT's processing of the applications, the way they do it, the amount that they charge us to do it, is extremely important to Australians. The government should be making it easier for Australians to obtain passports. And I have no doubt that the public service within the Passport Office are working as hard as they can. But this report says that they need more help. They need more help from the department, which means they need more help from their minister. This is a Westminster system of government. The minister must properly resource her department.
Order. A division has been called for in the House. The proceedings are suspended to enable honourable members to attend the division. The proceedings will resume when the chair of the Federation Chamber is resumed at the conclusion of the division or subsequent divisions.
And so if we look at the fact that we've now had two, and we're looking at a third increase in the cost of passports for Australians, this is not acceptable. Not acceptable in the cost of living crisis, not acceptable when we consider that Australians will now be paying $398, almost $400 for an adult passport. And recent analysis, Deputy Speaker, has found that Australia is home to the second most expensive passport in the world. We are now closer to Liechtenstein, which currently is at $432 for its passports. New Zealand passports, $194. US passports, $251. So these price increases by the Albanese Labor government put us now as the second highest in terms of our passport costs in the world. But the report from the National Audit Office found, concerningly, that the system is not efficient. And, Deputy Speaker, I will say that it's very good to see that DFAT has now agreed to all of the 9 recommendations that came out of the Audit Officer's report. So hopefully going forward, Deputy Speaker, we'll see a more efficient processing of passports. But in the meantime, I call upon the Albanese Labor government to put all future fee increases on hold until DFAT has addressed and implemented these recommendations. Thank you.